You joined me on a sad journey south. We unfortunately have to drop home our Deluxe Stormbreaker, which we've been living out of for the last few weeks. Sam, Ted and myself travelled up the Queensland coast and yeah, got to put this thing through its paces a bit. It was really fun. I truly think that this van is capable and worthy of competing with some of the best vans. There's a couple of big name vans that you probably have spring to mind when it comes to off-road caravanning. I'm not going to name them, you know them. This van, I think, is definitely rubbing shoulders with those big name competitors for sure. And I'm going to explain why. Now, I'm not going to call this a review because we worked with Deluxe. So I'll call this a rundown or potentially a walkthrough of this van. Now, speaking of walkthroughs, Sam and I shot a little walkthrough on sort of the last day of our trip in a little caravan park in Burleigh Heads. So I'll cut to that now. Sambo, take it away.
Come on in.
Alright, I'm just going to jump in here really quick and just mention that some of the things you're about to see are extras on this van. So not all of these things are standard inclusions. So go and check out the Deluxe website, go to the Stormbreaker model and go and see what is actually included as standard. I think you'll be very surprised at what is included as standard. Onward.
I'm just going to show you around the inside of this caravan. It is honestly such a beautiful caravan. It's felt like home for us for the past month, so we're very grateful. Alright, let's have a quick whip around this living area. So obviously, I mean, I love the colours. I like the timbers and the black and white. I mean, I just think the interior colours are beautiful. But they're not just beautiful, they're also very practical and very comfortable. This table can can go all the way down as well, which was really handy with a toddler, so he could just help himself up, so we didn't have to constantly pick him up and pick him down. Small things for having a family. Now the kitchen is obviously the kitchen.
Really good.
Really good. This is the kitchen, microwave, plenty of storage. Actually, what I will say about this caravan is there is so much storage, like tons and tons of storage. So if you have a big family or you're doing a big trip, you don't need to worry about that because this van has you sorted. We have, obviously, stovetop, grill, oven. It works so well. You might as well be in the 5-star kitchen. Well, I mean, they don't say that on this caravan, but it's true. I'm not very good at this. Okay.
You're great.
Fridge, freezer, brilliant. Okay, we've also got Dometic aircon, which runs on an inverter, which has saved us a million times. Like, we would just pull up at a unpowered site, a random hip camp, whatever it is, a free camp, and we were just able to pull up in the heat, put the inverter on and have aircon, which is amazing. Again, this is something that I think is really necessary, being pregnant as well, like making sure that we're nice and comfortable and having a small little baby. Yeah, we're able to sleep easy, which was so good. And then we've got dust reductor, isn't that right?
Mm-hmm.
So it makes sure that even if we go on the dustiest red dirt roads, nothing is going to get inside this caravan. It's been tried and tested by us, and this has stayed absolutely stunning the whole time. So now, this is my reading room slash bed. Beautiful bed. It's nice and comfy. I like beds facing this way because I set up a little reading nook there, and you've got your lamps. Beautiful. It's super comfy. Fan, TV. I'm sure you guys know what that is.
This fridge runs off the batteries, so it's not a 3-way because you don't need to, because we've got so much power from the Enerdrive lithium batteries, which are under this seat, which I'll show you in a minute, that we don't need to run it on gas. It can just run on the batteries, which is so good.
Super good. We've got bunks here for extra storage or children. You decide. Geordie, when he's
really good.
When he's vanished. Whoa, more storage. Washing machine, there it is.
There it is. You just found out where it was.
Geordie's the washer in this family.
Yeah.
And he does such a great job that I don't want to interfere. You know what I mean? Toilet, sink, bathroom. Here is a shower. Spacious. We have showers with our bubba, so there's heaps of room. Easy peasy. Fan. The bathroom. This whole caravan is designed so beautifully. I think, for me personally, I mean, Geordie looks at things that are more practical and got all the stats, but for me, I like I like things that look really pretty. I know that's very stereotypical, but it's true. I think it's such a stunning bathroom. I love the design. It's so spacious, and I love big mirrors because it makes it feel like it's bigger. And also, I can check out my outfit if I want to. You guys know me. I'm really fashionable.
I'm pretty sure they've got an interior designer. I could be wrong, but I think the whole van has been designed by a professional internally. I believe. I could have made that up.
Well, it would have been designed by professionally because if they designed it, they're getting paid for it, which means they're a professional.
But you know what I mean.
Nah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
So it's probably been designed by an interior designer.
I'm pretty sure it has.
And that would make sense because it's really pretty. Now, this is a really cool contraption. Geordie's obsessed with it. It's from Dometic. It will automatically open and give you fresh air, and then it automatically closes if it rains. And so it's just really good. So it's like, and we actually tested it. It started raining. Geordie's like ran over to it, so excited. And he's like, let's see if it works. And it did. So that's what you sound like. And there's fans in each bunk. Great. So if you want to put the kids there, whack on the fan. Or Geordie. And right here is a diesel heater. So if you want a heater, you can just turn on this switch. We feel really lucky and grateful that this has been our home for a month. Yeah, to be honest, I don't want to give this caravan back. I love it so much. We drove on some pretty sketchy roads, a lot of corrugation. You know, there were times we were like, oh God, is the van going to be okay? And we would come in and it's absolutely perfect. No dust, thanks to the dust reductor. And all the cabinetry has been perfect. Like, we've had absolutely zero issues.
Not even one screw went loose.
Not even one screw went loose. Like, absolutely perfect. And it's really well built, it's beautifully designed, and it really feels like a home no matter where you are. So yeah, we're just really grateful and we've loved this experience. So thank you for having us.
I just want to comment on one thing, right? It's the Enerdrive battery system in this thing. It's got a wicked battery management system. It's on the Cymarine battery system, which is like the top end sort of Enerdrive battery management system, and it's so good, like so easy to use. Even a simpleton like me can sort of look at how much solar's coming in, how much power you're using. You can also monitor how much water you're using, so it shows you all three tanks, 95 litre tanks, three 95 litre tanks, and then you've got an 80 litre grey water, and so it tells you when, even when your grey water's almost full. So really good. But under here it's all the Enerdrive battery systems. Hello, it's me again. So I've just got some details here from the guys at Deluxe. So in this van, it had a 2600 watt inverter. It had two 200 amp hour BTEC lithium batteries from Enerdrive. The Cymarine display, the 40 amp DC-DC 45 amp solar regulator, and a 60 amp charger. That is a big system. We could virtually plug our house into this caravan and run the house. So it makes everything so much more livable. You know, like a lot of vans say, oh yeah, we're built for off-grid. Are ya? I can tell you this one is. We had multiple things plugged in with the inverter running, multiple things plugged into the 240, like aircon running, and you can still make yourself a coffee on the coffee machine. Like, this thing's a beast. Like, it loves it. Anyway,
we've unplugged the van and turned on the inverter, and right now, running the aircon with the sun and the solar panels, we could easily run this aircon for 8 hours, over 8 hours, and be absolutely fine. That's pretty good.
Okay, and welcome back. How was that? Hope you enjoyed it. I'm exactly where I left you before. Literally, it's about 2 seconds after that. Whoa, you're so clever, George. The trickery of camera. Anyway, I'll talk to you a bit about our experience with the van. So straight away, I can tell you that this van made our travels really, really easy. Sometimes what you can find in caravans when you travel corrugated roads, it is normal for things like certain screws to come loose on cabinetry, or, you know, particularly on a brand new van where nothing's been shaken down, it hasn't had a proper run through yet. Whereas this van, not even a screw came loose, which is good because my toolbox was really hard to get to. I put it in a really bad spot in the back of the ute. But nothing came loose, nothing broke. And for anyone that's travelled on corrugated roads, you know that is, you know, you're at least tightening a screw here or there. I didn't even have to pick up a screwdriver on this trip, which was phenomenal. It was great. And I think a lot of that comes down to a couple of things. Number one, you know, a lot of off-road vans these days have independent off-road suspension, dual shocked independent suspension. However, the difference with this van is the company that makes this independent suspension. I've never tried this company's suspension until this trip, and I love it. So it's EFS independent suspension. It sent to ride like beautifully, like really, really, really nice. You know, my car would be banging around, shaking around, rocking from side to side through the corrugated, you know, rough roads. Sorry, just overtaking a truck in an overtaking lane. Everything's safe. Actually, while we'll just quickly jump into that, while I overtake the truck, I'll tell you this van weighs 2.75 tons unloaded, can weigh up to, I think it was 3.5 tons fully loaded. Now back to the suspension, sorry about that. The EFS suspension performed phenomenally. Even when my car was banging around, shaking around, I'd look in my mirrors and the van is just riding dead solid, flat, like really, really well. Obviously, you know, you do a couple of things to manage the way the van performs, and that comes down to tyre pressures and also just the way you drive. Like if you're driving to the conditions, you should be pretty right. Unless there's a fault in the van, your van should stay in one piece. So yeah, I found it a really easy, enjoyable experience to tow this thing on and off the highway. It tows really stable. So the other thing that I think helped on this trip is the tyres on this thing. So, you know, people think that big tyres are just for looks on caravans, but I very, very much disagree with that. I think that tyres on vans should be at least an all-terrain, if not a mud terrain, with quite a tall sidewall. So, you know, obviously that's going to vary between manufacturers, but on this van it had Maxxis Razor mud terrains, and they were brilliant. They have quite a strong sidewall, which allowed me to drop plenty of pressure out of the tyre, which then takes the strain of the vibrations out of the van and into the tyre, which is exactly what you want in an off-road van. So those tyres, I think, were a key element to helping this van perform very well. The other thing about the suspension is it towed really well on the highway. So what you'll find these days is a lot of sort of off-road vans get lifted right off the ground, get plenty of ground clearance, because, you know, I suppose it helps in some ways in terms of off-road capability. However, what it can mean is that they're quite top heavy. When they're so tall and so high off the ground, with their big independent suspension, it can mean it sort of goes like this and then it becomes unsafe on the highway at high speed. This van probably has the most ground clearance of any van I've ever towed. However, because of that suspension and the way it's set up, it's dead solid. Like, look at me, you can probably see I can steer with 2 fingers, and I'm driving at 100 on a pretty gross outback but New South Wales road. Like it's stable as, and really easy to tow. So I think that's really important to note. The other thing to definitely note is how sick this thing looks. Like, it looks wicked, like really cool. Externally and internally, this thing is beautiful to look at. So it was pretty cool, like rolling up into some campsites and going, you know, and people go, "Whoa, that's a cool van. How did you get that?" It's not mine, but I'm lucky enough to get to tow it. So that was cool. That was fun towing such a cool looking van. Like, it looks mean as. So this van that we took away is a 19'6". So it was a good size for us. The layout works really well. So that's my honest opinion of this van. Another thing to point out is the drawbar is long enough for me to turn on full lock. So that's something worth noting, because sometimes, particularly I find in utes, when you do a sort of a full lock turn, you can sometimes touch your bumper or a tail light on something like the drawbar or the stone guard, but this thing's set up perfectly up the front there. I found it really well balanced. Heaps and heaps of external storage. You've got the front toolboxes, you've got under bed storage, there's rear storage up the back too, and there's like a little boot up the back under the bunks, and then you've also got 2 jerry can holders, and then the spare wheel mounted on the back there. Alright folks, well, thanks for listening to our thoughts on this van. It's such a wicked van, and we're so grateful that we got to give it a run, and hopefully we get to do it again, because I really like this van, and I think the guys at Deluxe, you know, I've met a few of them, and I've worked with them a couple of times, and they are all really lovely people, and the way they manage their business is really professional and really friendly. So yeah, I encourage you to give them a call and have a chat, and if an off-road van is for you, then at least come and have a look, because you got to check it out for yourself. Cheers guys, thanks for watching. Giddy up.